Salesforce CEO Marc Benioff is addressing the company's recent layoffs that came just as it reported a huge second quarter earnings beat this week. In an interview with Yahoo Finance, he said the company has finally written, quote, its pandemic plan, and now they're reshaping their business. Yahoo Finance's Julia LaRoche is here with the details. Julia?
Hey, Brian, that's right. We had to speak to Marc Benioff, really following that banner quarter, historic quarter for them, reporting revenue of more than $5 billion for the first time in the company's history. And of course, the stock was up 26%, its best day ever on the heels of that report. And at the same time, you had the Wall Street Journal come out and report that the company was planning to lay off 1,000 employees and that they were going to be given 60 days to find a new role within the company. Of course, you had a lot of reaction on social media. Some people saying, look, the optics here really aren't good. Marc Benioff was one of the ones who came out early on in the pandemic and had this 90-day no layoff pledge, which he certainly honored and had a lot of folks follow. Just to give a little bit of context, 1,000 cuts here out of 54,000 employees. That's a little less than 2%. It actually comes out to be about 1.8%. We did get Marc Benioff to respond to some of the criticism and really share why exactly they're making the move. So take a listen.
Well, you're right. When this pandemic began, we really said, we're freezing our business. We're having a 90-day no layoff pledge. We're not sure what actions we're going to take. We don't know how to be successful during this pandemic. Now we've written our pandemic plan. We're reshaping our business. We're reassessing what Salesforce will look like next year. Now we have 54,000 employees, and we look at rebalancing 5 to 10% of those employees every single year. It's how we deliver performance. It's part of running our business in a successful way, and that does impact employees at different moments. And at this point in this quarter, for example, unfortunately, we're going to have to make changes to how our employees are structured and exactly where we're investing. Of course, we're reskilling, we're retraining, we're working with those employees. We provide them with every capability to find a new position, either in our company or another company. But this is part of having a successful business. It's also part of stakeholder capitalism. We want to do well and we want to do good. We want to be able to do both.
Yeah, pretty interesting comments there, especially when he talks about it being part of stakeholder capitalism. Of course, when you look at the founding of Salesforce going back to 1999, they really made philanthropy an integrated part of it, the famous 1-1-1 model that Benioff pioneered, and continuing those efforts, whether it was the PPP, bringing in millions of pieces of protective equipment for frontline workers, or even their donations to the public school system, especially during the pandemic, whether it was about food insecurity or bridging that divide. And yet you also wonder about layoffs during a pandemic, as he was referencing. Obviously, he called it a difficult decision, but at the same time, you're running a business, and I'm not a CEO. None of us are CEOs, so I'm not really sure what the decision process is like there. I can't imagine it was easy. Just a few other things that he did bring up with me about that. Again, giving the folks 60 days to reskill and retrain and look for job opportunities in the company. The company is hiring. They are seeing areas of growth. And I thought that was a pretty interesting way of doing it. He said talking about doing it in a just way, a more equitable way, if you will. No one likes layoffs. They're certainly not a pleasant thing, but it's something that pretty much every company goes through, I guess, almost on a yearly basis, it seems.
And I'm curious what he had to say about Salesforce's Playbook and how that it continues to evolve.
Yeah, Alexis, I brought this up with him. I think when, again, you look at the quarter, 29% year over year revenue growth. And then the prior quarter, they also, I think it was 25% revenue growth. You're talking about massive growth for an already huge company, a huge player in the software as a service space, continuing to put up these tremendous numbers. A couple of things that really stood out to me in the quarter. They saw a 63% increase in 7-figure deals. That tells me that he's talking to a lot of CEOs. I think that's pretty well understood. When you look at Salesforce, the technology is so ingrained in so many different companies. So he really has an interesting pulse as to what's going on. A lot of people are probably asking him questions. And I was trying to, get him to open up what is the playbook here. And a couple of takeaways. Relevancy. So of course, you're doing business as usual, this pandemic comes, and all of a sudden you really have to pivot and think about what are the products we're going to do? How do we stay relevant during this pandemic? I think Salesforce has done a good job of adapting, whether it's coming out with work.com, a huge success driver for them in the quarter. Also kind of honing in on their data capabilities, their data analytics. Tableau, he called that maybe one of the best, or what could be one of the best acquisitions in the software space. So kind of a repositioning for the areas of growth, looking for new opportunities, coming out with new products. I think that is really the playbook, staying relevant and getting your people to participate in the game on the field.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.